Well, I don't think it's the women tell all. I think it's Maria tells all. I ought to know. I had a front row seat. And oh my gosh, did I do enough head nodding or not? But I had my Golden Bachelor sweatshirt in case they were going to announce the Golden Bachelorette. I'm not mad if Maria becomes the next Bachelorette, but we have a number of amazing women. So let's dive in the drama and the tears. Welcome to Reality TV Therapy with me, Dr. Diane. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Diane Strakowski, licensed psychologist. I follow reality dating shows, but I'd like to start out with a little bit of housekeeping. So, as I mentioned to you, I was going down to LA to the Women Tell All, and I went with my good friend Sandy. We made it a girls' weekend. I can't tell you how much fun it is. But if you ever want to get on the show, people were asking me, how did I get so lucky? I got my tickets through my charity, which supports mental health, and one of our volunteers on the charity actually knows one of the producers. So wonderful that ABC has a certain amount of tickets that they give to charities. Of course, I had to bid on that, but I was happy to do that because, this is my jam. But other people, if you want to get on the show, there is an ABC link that you register, particularly if you live in LA. Because while we were there, we were asking other people how did they get on the show, and many people did it this way. For free. They call you at the last minute though, and if you're lucky enough and you're available, then you can get in. So I highly want to recommend that. I'm going to link that here. But so many wonderful moments. It's a full day of taping. I got to see some of my favorites. I got to meet Leslie and Sandra. But let me talk about the overall production because we are sworn to secrecy. But I will say this, they did a very professional job. Jesse is a consummate professional. The way that he handled the crowd and so respectful of everyone. They treated us very well. They obviously know what they're doing at ABC, providing us snacks and lunch. It was raining like crazy down in LA. They gave us ponchos, informed us about what was going on. So overall, I have to say it's just a really great production to be at. Now, the second thing that happened for me, which I found really fun, was a spontaneous meeting of the girls from The Bachelor. So the next day, we're in LA. As I mentioned, we made a girls' trip of it. And I'm shopping at Zara's. And lo and behold, who walks in? Caitlin and Sydney. There's Sandy, my friend, me, Leah, Autumn, and Jess. So fun. These girls were so friendly and lovely. I said, hey, can I take your picture? Of course, I look like an Amazon woman, just for reference. I'm 5'10", and a lot of these girls are tiny. But it was really just a lovely way, and I always want to keep in mind that, remember, a lot of these girls might get negative edits, but in real life, they are genuine, sincere people. We're going to get to that when we talk about Rachel, too. But I want to go through my recap in this video, scene by scene. Can we start out talking about Susan, though? Because she was there, and what a big presence. People are calling her the mayor of Bachelor Nation, and I would have to agree. And Kathy and her have started a new podcast. Good for them. But we start off the night. Everyone is crushing on Joey. The energy was so positive. Joey at one point comes out, says hello. Joey mania is a real thing. But now they're talking about going to these watch parties. Joey has his safe word, pineapple. I just think Joey and Jesse are really a great combination. We see them on the tennis court, and I think he was really a nice mentor to him. At the Women Tell All, we have 16 women starting out on the top row. We had Lauren sitting next to her sister Allison, Edwina. We had Star, who I didn't remember very much, Evelyn, who jumped over the table. We had Taylor, Caitlin, Autumn, Kelsey T, looking amazing in that black dress, I might say. Then on the front row, we had Maria, Jen, Lexi, Medina, Sydney, Jess, Leah. Can I just say how gorgeous all the women were? They looked beautiful. The dresses, I was really impressed. Sydney's dress was gorgeous. Lexi in the red. Maria, everyone really looked stunning and handled themselves so well. But immediately, as you saw, it starts out spicy. Maria is standing on business and she comes out of the gate ready to defend herself. But you can't blame Maria. Again, I'm calling this the Maria show. But remember, this is the first time that Maria now has watched all of this back and gets to confront the people who have said these things about her. Some people were saying it's a little too much. I got the feeling really that she was standing on principle, that this was about, I need to defend myself. And she's a very accurate person about what is said and what isn't said. So we had Lauren coming out with the red velvet cake. And when Maria said that it was correctly how they sat, all of them, that was very true. I've mentioned before, I was also at the Women Tell All for Peter Weber season, and it was the same thing. They kind of cluster people based upon friend group. So I think that actually works for them because you want to be surrounded by other people who are going to support you. I have so many favorite moments, but one of the favorite moments was when Maria said, "Roll the tape. Did anyone ever see me tell someone to shut up?" And then it was Lauren, where she secures her spot on Bachelor in Paradise, if we even have a Bachelor in Paradise, and says, "No, that was me."
You said you never said that.
I never said it. Because I said it. I said it. I'm the one who said shut the up. Yeah, I said it. She was telling me to practice patience and to be quiet, super condescending for no reason. Like,
wait, hold on, Lauren. You said shut the up.
So I really loved that because it just kind of set the tone for saying, not everything you see is accurate. A second complaint was that Maria was interrupting people. I actually don't feel that that was really the case. I do feel, though, that she was trying to, again, talk about what happened, what didn't, and this is her first chance. Now, we did see Leah get upset at the break. She walks off screen. And Maria was right there, right there. I'm really glad they showed that because otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk about it. That she went and gave her a hug. And I actually thought that that was really wonderful because for me, why do I love reunion shows? It's because of this. It's about an opportunity for redemption. You get to apologize. You get to give more backstory. And sometimes you get to tell a story that not other people got to see. And so that part of it, I really thought Maria, not only do the fans love Maria, everyone cheering for Maria, but she really did a nice job, more so than other people, extending an olive branch. And if Maria wasn't there, to be honest, I just don't think it would have been nearly as interesting. And I think this was one of the best tell-alls that we've seen. And the Maria that you see on TV seems like the Maria that you see in real life. She wants to keep things positive. She wants to mend fences. We also saw Edwina, Lexi, Medina, all defending Maria because I had been asking earlier, where are the people supporting Maria? So it was really more like Leah, Jess, and Sydney that were a little bit in the minority, and I thought they did a nice job too. So now Jessie asks Medina, what was your intention in bringing up your insecurity? I really do believe what Medina said. It was for nothing other than just talking about her age. No different than Lexi being concerned about her age and health. Even Kelsey T said she's in that age. And I think Medina just said what some of the other women were feeling. And when all the other women are in their 20s and you're 30 or older, I get that. Now, Medina herself said that she was surprised that obviously this morphed into something much bigger, right? We were deep into this idea of bullying. And I do like that Maria is trying to say that's not what bullying is. Okay, it was Star then, who's in the back row, who's saying things like she almost wished that Medina had shut it down. Fair enough, though. Sydney says that she feels like she's just sticking up for a friend. And this is where Edwina then says that, Sydney, you just never liked Maria from the start because she's a pretty observational person and she's been very active on social media. But Medina really is also holding her own. And I respect her. I mean, she said that she could, befriend the Dalai Lama and that maybe it's Maria's approach. And this was the mic drop. Lexi said, is it just opinion or people who disagree in the friend group? And I kind of agree with Lexi. I think people just had their different groups and you're going to see it that way. So Sydney, at this point now, I'm just going along as the sequencing. She really does try to apologize. I see the efforts. I do. She says we have different communication styles. Maria is quick with her puns, and she said, "Yeah, I speak the truth. You make up lies." I think this was in referencing all that came after about the gaslighting. And that was one of those moments because Leah then says to Maria, "I didn't want to be gaslit." Ooh, I could have a field day with that word. I mean, I've done videos about this. The concept of gaslighting was originally meant for when you strategically try to make someone think that they are going crazy. It is not just a disagreement. It's not just saying you see it one way, I see it another. Gaslighting is really more sinister than that. Originally, the Alfred Hitchcock movie where the gentleman was trying to make his wife think that she was going crazy by turning the gas lights off and then denying that reality. So it's really more complex, and I feel like it's a term we're just overusing. Maria is quick again with her retort. She says, "Did you take that from Sydney's book?" And here's where Maria then also defends herself more, especially with Jess. Jess, you got extra time with Joey, and I was so supportive of that. And I thought, here we were all good. And now where is this coming from? Moving on, Lexi gets the first hot seat. Well deserved. She was definitely looking stunning, I might add. That red dress was perfect for her. But what stands out for me is that Lexi is really an unproblematic queen. What I love about her story is that it did reach so many women. And let's talk more about endometriosis. It is not only painful, it can affect your fertility, and certainly people can have surgery and there are treatments. But what's so important is talking about how alone she felt. And when you're dating and talking about having children, I can just imagine how sensitive a topic this is. So I thought she handled herself with such poise and elegance, and then reaching out to more people. This is kind of like Daisy using her platform too with Lyme disease, talking about what other people can do for treatment. And I think when you have a public figure like that, it really normalizes the conversation. And can we talk about how sweet it was when she said that Joey said he wishes that he had a toolkit with him? Okay, this was just heartwarming. Joey, what a sweetheart, trying to say what I would want to know how I could help you. And then all the people coming forward talking about IVF. I think this was just wonderful. Now, there are a number of women up for contention. I mean, everyone is saying Maria for Bachelorette, but I would love to see Lexi too. Which also brings me to Jen. Jen would make another wonderful Bachelorette. She is looking gorgeous too in that green dress. She gets called up. Clearly, there are feelings. I really liked Jen's vibrancy, her energy. She talked so much about her own family, how emotional she was, how living in an Asian Vietnamese home, how her mother gave up medical school, how her mother is also her hero, and she's the woman that she would want to be. But this is another. Not only do we have redemption amongst people, but with families. This is the healing power then of telling your story online. Of course, I imagine you might feel somewhat embarrassed, but then being able to heal some of those issues. And that's what Jen has been doing, talking to other people in her family. And then, of course, Jess asks what's next for her, and she is certainly primed and ready to find love. I just want to stop for a minute though, and because I mentioned that I was at the other women tell all, this is a very unique situation. The love that people have for Joey and Joey Mania, I have to say, there was not, with Peter Weber, it was like, ooh, everyone was trying to be kind of political, and I felt sort of dampened down and trying to be correct and say nice things without confronting it, but you could sort of feel the energy. It was just so different. Here, Joey was there was nothing bad to say about him at all. People were just like thanking him for breaking their hearts. It was like, thank you for giving me this chance. It did remind me a little bit of the Golden Bachelor, Gary, where people are saying, you renewed my faith and love. Thank you for this opportunity. But I just loved the sentiment. It was really so sincere. Next up in the hot seat, we have Maria. Lots of clapping for Maria. Some were saying even more clapping for Maria than Joey. It didn't feel that way. It felt very equal, but definitely people are rooting for her. And Jessie, does hold her accountable that she's a lightning rod, that she brought it on herself. And she says she just liked everything about Joey. Now, I do also appreciate what she could have done better. And she gets to say that she should have told him sooner that she was falling for him. And she said herself, I think it was on that on her date in Montreal at dinner, where she said, sometimes I'm just more shut down. But she had so many beautiful things to say. I mean, really spun it in a positive way about how beautiful it was that she gets to rewatch it. Like, I don't feel like Maria is spending a lot of time feeling sorry for herself. She talked about what an amazing date it was, that he's a good friend. She gets to kiss. And then when she says that her dad has a hit out on Joey and that he should sleep with one eye open, lots of funny memes about that. So now we bring it back to the women. Jessie's asking why. Does Maria think that maybe Sydney had this impression about you? And Sydney, again, beautiful, does a lovely job. She says, I watched it back. I was annoying. This is one of the best reunion redemption. She didn't deny it. She didn't push it off. She said, I said things that I didn't mean. Moving forward, I should have been more resolution focused. Lovely. I was really impressed with this. Sydney also looked gorgeous in that dress. She really came, I thought, with wonderful energy and wanting to resolve this. And then when Maria says, you're getting a lot of heat on social media and I don't want that to happen, another beautiful moment where Leah, Sydney, and the three of them hug it out. And that really felt satisfying to me. Okay, now let's bring it back to the show. Okay, and we're watching this in the studio. We're watching this at the same time. The whole controversy with the note. We know that Kelsey wrote the note. Joey has the note. He's clearly upset. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I feel like Joey, all along from the beginning, has talked about his biggest fear of being abandoned or rejected at the end. But this card, like, he just held his breath. I mean, watch him when Kelsey comes into the room and she's giving a long preamble, and you could just see him holding his breath. He doesn't know what to say. But something big is getting churned in Joey. We've seen him cry a number of times. This is what makes him such a wonderful, sensitive man, because he seems emotionally attuned. But I wondered if this isn't something more. Like, besides having been blindsided by Charity, was there something else? Back to the family. This is why I can't wait to meet the mother and the dad, but I'm wondering what else is happening for Joey, because he's acting not in this moment exactly like the lead with the power, but somebody who's going to be left. And that just really struck a chord by me. And I'd wondered if it is Joey's anxious attachment style, because abandonment is a huge theme for anxiously attached people. And here's where you actually just feel for Kelsey. People are saying, did the producers put it up to it? They thought it might be like spice up some drama. Immediately you can see that she regrets it, because all along I've been saying that Kelsey is so focused on Joey, how he's doing, want to meet his mother, how's he feeling, and now she realizes that she's created some unnecessary stress. And I'm guessing if she had to do all over again, she just wouldn't go there. Now they bring us back to the rose ceremony after the fantasy suites. And I just have to say, that suit on Joey, the stylish this year, has really outdone themselves. What an amazing look. He looks fine. Jesse looks amazing in his blue suit. And Joey is there again, touching his fingers as he does when he's anxious, and then doing the little rose as we're going to get to Rachel. But he talks about the beautiful moments, and then he has to lead with his heart. They take us through the rose ceremony, and there was some controversy that maybe actually he didn't choose Daisy first, he chose Kelsey. Somebody noticed that the rose was still on the platform. I didn't quite see that, but I think when you get down to the final two, who's one and who's two doesn't matter that much. Now, Rachel obviously gets sent home, and this is a surprise to us. We didn't realize that she was there. She comes out. She says nothing but wonderful things about Joey, about the experience. You could see me right here nodding my head because I'm like literally right behind her head. The whole hate, I just have to say, it was really, again, I'm sitting behind her, but you could just feel the energy and the sadness about this idea that people were hating on her. Now, why is that? In the past, women have come forward, especially people of color, have been talking about how much hate that they get. I think this is a complicated scenario because people wanted Maria over Rachel, wondered why she wasn't one of the final three. And so I think it's like multiple layered on that. But Rachel has come out herself and talked about being so brave, talked about the hate that she's gotten actually being back on the mainland, and how, people have used derogatory terms, that they did TikToks, mocking, throwing up with her kissing Joey, and all of this just needs to stop. I know it was Dave Neal. I haven't watched his video yet, but he talked about trying to police these trolls. I have said all along, we need to call a stop to this. First off, I definitely think ABC needs to step up too, saying be kind, be nice. I've heard this before because I heard this on Peter Weber's season. Rachel Lindsay came out and talked about the negative hate and the death threats that they would get. And we heard it back then, but I don't think anything is really happening. I think there do needs to be consequences because that was the saddest part for me when Rachel said there's no consequence for the keyboard warriors hiding behind the screen. Why aren't there? We could block people. We could find out their profiles. You could report them. I feel like something more needs to be done. Have a social media manager filtering all of those messages and then have consequences for those people. I know there are probably a small number of them, but still, of course, it's going to affect someone in their mental health. And this is why I'm saying you come to my channel, respond with respect and sensitivity. And that's where Joey does a really nice job. Talks about the women and the courage that they have. They're not just faces on a screen. Everybody, spontaneously scream out, love you, Rachel. And I thought that was really moment. This is the point where all the women get to just ask Joey questions, thank them for the experience. Autumn asks if he has any single friends. But who knows? And then it was, I think, Jess who perked up, and who knows if they're going to have a paradise or not. Maria thanks Joey for handling her with care. And here's another redemptive, beautiful moment. We get an update from Kelsey T. I had covered that story about her father who was Jehovah's Witness, didn't believe in her going to college. And she says that her dad has apologized. This is what I was hoping for, some healing that would happen. And how instrumental this can be for starting conversations with other people going through similar things. Finally, at the end, things definitely get lighter. We talk about the women's impressions of one another's and the bloopers, Daisy Days, Jen, everything is so pretty. Rachel does that little shoulder shrug. And Joey talks about Rachel and Maria being the two women that made him laugh the most. And you could see that because there was lots of lovely banter. Finally, we see Joey eating like the macaroons while Maria is shopping. And he looked in that preview like he was a little bit drunk. I think this is why he's been watching what he drinks. But it was just good to see him be so relatable. And then that whole tennis thing with Jessie and Joey, that was actually hysterical. It was brilliant with the lips saying, I'm the best bachelorette. The bloopers, Lauren and the cake, Maria and the mic in her underwear, all of that was just really, the usual bugs and bees and all the other things that happen on set. But overall, my impression was that this was one of the best tell-alls we've seen, not just because I was there, but there was the right amount of humility, apologizing, and people really hugging it out. That, again, felt satisfying. That felt like the redemption arc that we were looking for. Now let's talk about what's to come next. They're leaving us on another cliffhanger. Jesse says he doesn't want to make Joey relive it. Joey, as you saw, walks off the scene. But we then see this next one, right? At this point, you're going to meet the sisters, the mom. Looks like he's hugging his dad. Joey's mom reminds everyone of Barb, like, bring her back to me. The sisters are asking, does she really want to marry you? But I want to understand, how has Joey become the man that he has? What's underlying this anxiety, this fear of abandonment? Now, everyone's still talking about what could possibly be this cliffhanger. That's not going to be something that dramatic. We know the most dramatic season ever. But the one thing in the recap that I noticed was something I hadn't noticed before, because sometimes they give us little extra clips, is suddenly Joey is alone in the limo by himself. We have not seen that before. Is he sweltering in the heat and he just needs to get in the air conditioning? Does Daisy, who they're now showing looks like she has some skepticism, she doesn't show up? He goes to get her, to talk to her. Who knows? Now, I will say, I was really hoping that we were going to have more surprises, that we were going to get a Bachelorette announcement and a Golden Bachelorette announcement, but I'm guessing at this point it might be after the final rose, because there was just so much content going on here. I think they're going to make that something separate. So I am certainly looking forward to that. I think there's so many wonderful possibilities for Bachelorette. We've got Maria, Jen, Lexi, Daisy, if she goes home, all as a stay tuned. Make sure that you watch next week. And I'm going to be a little bit late on that one because I'm going to be skiing, but I will get back to you just as soon as I can. More great finale to come. And until then, it's a wrap.